very first time I sensed something was wrong, it was the lights.
Is anyone there?
This night pushed my limits of reality. I saw a black mass.
This thing was standing over top of her.
Can't you see her? She's holding your hand.
I just wondered what is going on.
I saw papers shooting out from printers.
And then all of a sudden, it jumped over the side.
I felt like I was in the middle of a scary movie that I didn't want to see.
You're not gonna scare me anymore.
It's 2016 in a small Canadian city. Jolene Coughlin is a personal support worker in a long-term care residence.
Helen, it's Jolene. How are you today?
Fine.
You're getting pretty dry, Helen.
Personal support worker bathes, feeds, nurtures, provides emotional care. Sometimes you just sit and keep them company. I felt like I could make a difference in some of these people's lives.
Nice and cool.
Personal support worker is basically the eyes and ears of healthcare. We are there with them, washing them, feeding them, medicating them. I've been in a situation a few times where I've been with them taking their last breaths. It's very, very emotional, and sometimes it's very peaceful.
Get some cream on you here.
You take such good care of me.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I grew up in a very religious home. My dad was a preacher. I felt like after death, your spirit did go to a spirit world, but I wasn't ever really sure. Before I started working at the long-term care facility, I never ever had any experience with paranormal activity before, but that all very quickly changed.
Radiology, pick up line 2. Radiology, line 2.
The very first time I sensed something was wrong, it was the lights. I was at the end of a long corridor, and all the lights just started going on and off down the whole hallway. At first, you think somebody's flickering the lights and playing with you, but then I was just like, that was really strange.
Hello?
Everybody was supposed to be in bed. It was quiet. There was nobody walking around. I was the only one there. I wondered, what the hell is happening?
Hello?
Nobody was there.
Hello?
After that experience in the hallway, I just wanted nothing more than to just get out of there. But I had no idea that this was going to be an ongoing situation.
Hey, Jamal. Do you guys ever have any issues with the lights?
First time I heard any rumors of anything going on in this facility was when I approached the nurse about what had happened with the lights.
I was just in the corridor, and all the lights turned out, just all the way down the hallway.
And then they told me, well, didn't you know this building was haunted? I said, no.
What?
I had no idea.
Jolene now wonders if her experiences are more than mere electrical malfunctions.
Shortly after the lights started flickering, something else happened to me.
What do you want? What do you want?
I went into one of my patients' rooms.
What do you want? She's there. What does she want? What
Helen, what are you doing out of bed? You're supposed to be in bed.
Who is that? What do you want?
There's no one there, Helen.
There's a girl.
She said, "Who's that little girl with you?"
There's no one there.
Can't
It's
you
okay.
see her?
Promise you there's no one there. It's just a bad dream, okay?
Totally creeped me out. And I said, "There's nobody with me." And she was adamant.
Here, we're gonna sit down on the bed. You feel it there? Perfect.
And what are you feeling at this moment?
I'm feeling extremely creeped out
No.
because I can't see what she's seeing.
Sometimes, you know, we have bad dreams and we see things. It's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's all right.
Is she there?
Don't be scared. There's nothing to be afraid of, okay?
I noticed in my peripheral, the light was going on and off like crazy. And then as soon as I turn around and look at it, it stops going off.
No, she was right there. She wants something.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll be right back to check up on you, okay?
Okay.
Give me okay.
Jolene moves to investigate the source of the lights.
What does she want? Can't you see her? What does she want? Who is she?
Totally creeped me out. I didn't want to be in that room anymore.
Before leaving, however, she must make sure that her patient has calmed down.
Ah! Who is that? Who's the girl with you? Who is that? The girl is beside you. There's the little girl. What does she want? You can't see her? Can't you see her? She's holding your hand. She's right there. You're holding her.
I looked down, there was no little girl there.
What does she want?
Wondered what is going on.
Can't you see her? She's there.
Personal support worker Jolene Kuglin has experienced strange occurrences with lights.
Light was going on and off like crazy.
And after realizing that the hospital is haunted,
What?
Girl is beside you.
encounters a patient
She said, "Who's that little girl with you?"
who claims to see someone she cannot.
You can't see her? Can't you see her? She's holding your hand. She's right there. You're holding.
I looked down, there was no little girl there. She was convinced that there was a little girl beside me.
Right there. What does she want?
Okay. Just try and get some sleep, okay? Try and get some sleep.
I do believe she saw something. I do believe she saw a little girl holding my hand.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm here. I'm here. I wouldn't ever let anything hurt you. You know that, Helen. Okay.
I didn't want to be in that room anymore. So I did just leave the room and go outside the door and just took a deep breath.
When was the next time you saw Helen?
I didn't see Helen after that. Helen had passed away, and it was very sudden too, because she was healthy.
Really?
Yeah, it was very shocking to actually a lot of us. I'm noticing when people are passing away, they see either family or other people.
Jolene finds comfort in believing that what her patient saw was a spirit from beyond, there to help her pass through death. Over the next few days, however, strange electrical events continued to occur.
Then it kept happening over and over and over everywhere I went. It was relentless that I just started to think, okay, something's definitely going on with the electricity around me. So it was almost like I was being warned to pay attention or something.
At home, instead of finding refuge from the strange events at work,
Hey, what you working on?
Homework.
she finds something else.
What's going on?
Nothing.
There was no way that it could have been a coincidence.
Whoa.
All the things that were happening to me were all signs that a spirit or somebody or something was trying to connect with me.
Spirits interact with the lights deliberately in order to convey their presence, in order to signal that they are there. But when a spirit is present, there's a kind of distortion effect, a field that's generated around them, which interferes with electrical equipment, whether that's the lights, televisions, radios, anything with a charge.
Morning, bud. Did you grab me some milk from the fridge?
Sure. My worry very quickly turned to fear. The refrigerator would keep shutting on and off.
Mom, what's wrong with the fridge?
My washer would stop with a full load in. It seemed like everything electrical. I feel like something left that facility with me, and it was everywhere, like everywhere.
What's going on? It's okay. We're all right.
My son was extremely nervous in the house.
Okay, let's go.
The last thing I wanted was for this thing to follow me home to my personal space where I lived and where my son was. But that's what happened. I just kept thinking, why is this happening to me? Why me? I started noticing dimes going up the stairs and down the stairs. There would be a dime just laying right in the open for you to see. They would be in the basement, and I would think they fell out of laundry. Outside my front door, there would be dimes. And I didn't even know that this was a way of spirits contacting you until I had Googled online of things that would happen if spirits are trying to reach you.
There has long been a connection between the spirit world and coins, and it's been theorized that this is because of the ancient tradition of placing coins on the eyes of the dead in order to pay the ferryman to take you across the River Styx to the land of the dead.
I was very overwhelmed, I was confused, I was scared, I was every emotion you can imagine. I just felt so helpless and like trapped almost. You don't know what it means, but you know it's something.
Back at work, that elusive something continues to leave signs of its presence.
Back at work, I started noticing the dimes just laying right in the open for you to see. I saw a little girl standing in the hallway. It was a moment of complete shock. Like, holy, what is happening? Who is this little girl?
Personal support worker Jolene Kuglin is pursued at work and home by an elusive spirit who causes strange electrical activity. She now finds herself face to face with the spirit.
I saw a little girl standing in the hallway. There was no denying it in that moment that it was something. And then it became very overwhelming because you don't know, is it a good spirit, is it a bad spirit, but it's definitely a spirit.
She has her very own psychic stalker. She kind of has a feeling that something's not right, but it's only when she realizes that wherever she goes, lights are dimming, brightening, flipping on and off, that she realizes something tangible is happening, that something is having an effect just a few steps right behind her.
The elusive spirit vanishes.
When I left the facility that night, after the hallway experience, I got in my car, was driving down the hill, and every streetlight above my car was going on as I was driving down the hill. I felt so isolated in this situation, and it was very overwhelming. And I went to my best friend's house.
Can I talk to you about something?
Sure. What?
There's just been some really weird things happening lately. It started at work.
And I had decided going there, okay, I'm gonna tell her what's happening, because I needed to know that I wasn't crazy.
And I think I brought it home with me, but the lights everywhere I go just keep flickering on and off.
Really?
It's all the time. It never stops. Please don't think I'm crazy.
Oh my God. You brought it here with you?
She was very concerned. She was very freaked out.
I'm so sorry. I have to go. I'm sorry.
I left her house and I got into my car and I backed maybe like 2 feet out of her driveway. And the neighbors' lights outside of their garage were just going crazy, flickering. The street light was like the grand finale of just something like, listen, I'm here, pay attention.
Okay. Okay, I've had enough.
And I said, I have to do something about this.
Okay. I've had enough.
I decided to not let this entity control me and my home and my son.
You're not gonna scare me anymore.
The risk to confronting this spirit would be the same risk Jolene would have had if she had confronted a physical stalker. These can be unpredictable personalities, and you never quite know how they're going to react.
Okay, I'm done.
She set her boundaries and let the spirit know in no uncertain terms this was her home and that it was not welcome there.
What has changed now since these events?
Since I made the choice to not let it control me and my home and my son, things just died down. But every now and then, there's still dimes. I still, till this day, wonder who it was or what it wanted from me. All the things that were happening to me were all signs that a spirit trying to connect with me. I think sometimes after you pass on, I think some spirits stay with you because they're not ready to pass over.
It's 2007 in northwestern Georgia. 18-year-old Max Laird arrives for his first shift as a security guard at a decommissioned hospital.
It was my first overnight shift as security. I didn't know what to expect.
Okay, Max, so you're gonna walk around every couple hours, 2-3 hours, just to make sure everything's okay?
When I got there, I was instructed of what my duties were for the night.
Elevator's locked down on 3 and 4.
Okay.
These keys will get you into every room. And if you have a problem, just give me a call.
Great, sounds good.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah, thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Yeah, you too.
My shift was between the hours of 5 p.m. and 7 a.m. I was supposed to investigate different parts of the hospital itself, and there were floors that are completely locked off that we weren't allowed to go on. I locked the door behind him. I was completely alone in this abandoned hospital.
As night falls, Max begins his hourly rounds of the empty building.
When you think of a hospital, you think of this giant building. But that's not what this hospital was. It was 5 floors. It was very small compared to the hospitals that people are used to nowadays. When you're in a security role, you definitely would need to be logical, level-headed. I definitely wouldn't say that I'm prone to being dramatic. But this night definitely pushed my limits of reality. I could hear water dripping. I couldn't understand where it was coming from. It hadn't rained that day. The bathroom was at the other end of the hallway. That I was hearing whispering.
Hello? Who's there? Security?
It did sound like a couple people. I knew that it was behind me, but then the next second I hear it coming from the other direction. I just couldn't figure out where it was coming from.
Is anyone there?
I heard footsteps coming from behind me. There's supposed to be nobody here. Once I cleared the corner and saw that there was nobody there, I started actually walking down the hallway very slowly, just making sure there was no sign of any sort of break-in, glass, or somebody forced their way in. All of the doors that were supposed to be locked were still locked. Did I hear it in the first place? Am I imagining it? I must be going crazy for a second. Being in a hospital all alone must be getting to me.
As the evening wears on, Max begins to put the strange noise behind him.
Then I realize it's time for another round. And I come across this open door. I had walked this hallway that night already. On each round, I'd grab each door handle and jiggle it to make sure each door is locked and closed. It should not have been open. There was no reason for it to be open. The only reasonable explanation is somebody was in that room. I honestly thought at any second I was gonna walk into a couple homeless guys trying to get out from the streets. I remember grabbing the door handle. I instantly felt like I started shaking. There was nothing.
Hello?
Nothing looked disturbed. There was no sign of anyone ever being in that room.
Is anyone here?
But the door was open. I am totally freaked out. I tried calling my supervisor.
Hi, you've reached Jim Nestor.
He didn't answer. While I needed to get a hold of him, I still needed to finish my routine. And I hit the 5th floor button.
Hi, you've reached Jim Nestor.
When going up to the 5th floor, the elevator would just pass by the 3rd and 4th. The 4th floor was medical billing, and the 3rd floor was the psych ward. Both of those floors were locked off. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't get onto these floors.
Hi, you've reached Jim Nestor at George.
remember looking back into the elevator, and I was on the 3rd floor. I am not on the right floor. I was completely dumbfounded. The floor was locked. I couldn't have gotten onto that floor if I tried. My trainer made that exact joke, but here I was standing in the middle of this psych ward that nobody was supposed to be on. Nobody had the keys except for the building owner. And then I heard talking, whispering. I looked around me, and every door was opening. There's no way that those doors could have been opened. I definitely felt like there was more than one person in this hospital with me.
At an abandoned hospital in northern Georgia,
Hello?
newly hired security guard Max Laird is convinced that he is not alone.
I looked around me, and every door was opening. I have to make sure that no one's on this floor, because obviously this isn't right, this isn't normal, so something is going on. I never even considered the thought that it could be anything supernatural or paranormal. I heard something that made me stop in my tracks. It literally sounded like papers being sorted through or flipped through, like if you had a book and you were just flipping, trying to find the right page. But this must have been a really big book. I finally got to the door the sound seemed to be coming from. I saw papers shooting out from printers. All of these papers were just flying from the trays and landing on the floor. There's no power to this floor, it's only emergency lights. I couldn't explain it. I stood there in utter shock and disbelief. Nobody's probably even been in this room in at least a month since everyone cleared out from working here.
The paranormal and electronics has always been something that has been relatively related, and it's so fascinating to be able to sit back and observe in a lot of these cases electronics or anything like that turning on and off. Sometimes you'll actually get ghost phone calls and strange things like that happening. So there's plenty of evidence to suggest that these entities actually can manipulate electronic devices.
I bent down and I picked up one of the papers. And it just had dots on it, like periods. It was like I was reading Braille. There's no rational explanation. I can't put into words what I was feeling or thinking at that exact moment because this was physically impossible. I felt like I was socked in the stomach. And that's when I turned and ran out of there. I saw a black mass go from one side of the doorway to the other. I didn't stop to look because I saw the figure and I had to get out of there. I dove into the elevator. I immediately started calling my supervisor. I had no cell service whatsoever. I finally did get a hold of my supervisor.
It's just hitting the fan. I have no idea what is happening.
What's hitting the fan? What are you talking about?
Doors are opening, there's noises. I don't know what is happening.
Do you hear yourself explaining to him?
I definitely know I sounded crazy in that moment. He said, "What are you smoking?"
No, I'm fine. I'm not on drugs. Everything is fine. There's just weird shit happening in this hospital?
He said to me, it's impossible to stop being paranoid and letting my imagination get the best of me. You only have a couple hours left. Man up, deal with it.
Man up.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Okay, sure.
Write it up for me in a report.
I had to finish. I needed the job. It's the only job I had. I needed to pay rent. I had to pay for food and gas and everything else. I couldn't just quit the only job that I have. I remember watching the clock and trying to count down every minute. I was trying to prolong doing my last round for as long as possible. But it was 4:45, and I had to make the one last trek around. When it comes to being alone in general, most people find it uneasy. Being alone in such a large building after all of this happened, it brings a new level of just feeling so alone. Yet again, I was stuck on a floor I wasn't supposed to be on. I was more than unnerved or scared. I had no air. I couldn't breathe. And the feeling that I had inside of me was like, that was it. That's how I died. I started actually walking down the hallway as if I was being drawn to something. I didn't feel like I was in control of my body. I remember thinking, oh my God, oh my God. But my feet kept moving. I was in the middle of a scary movie that I didn't want to see. And then I heard this loud crack, almost like somebody had hit a baseball and the bat cracked. It was so loud I could actually feel the echoes down the hallway with me. It literally made me jump out of my skin. I felt a hot breath on the back of my neck. It was the scariest sound I've ever heard in my life.
During his first shift as a security guard at an abandoned hospital, Max Laird is confronted by a menacing presence.
I felt hot breath on the back of my neck. It was the scariest sound I've ever heard in my life. Every muscle in my body decided at that moment I was going to be a track star. I didn't go to the elevator. I hit the stairs. And I probably cleared those 3 flights of stairs in about 2.5 seconds. I left out the front door as fast as I could. I left everything as it was. I didn't grab the keys. I didn't lock anything up. I dove in my car and sat there for the remainder of my shift until the next guy came in. There was no way I was ever stepping foot back in that hospital, ever. Prior to that experience, I was pretty skeptical when it came to the paranormal. But after having that experience, there was no doubt in my mind I believed in the paranormal. Atlanta and the surrounding areas in Georgia are definitely known for all of the wars that have happened on their soil. That site actually used to have a military hospital on it. It wasn't the exact building, but it was the same ground, the same soil. I believe that there was a lot of energy that had just combined and accumulated over the years. So it creates a layering effect that there's this tragedy with blood and this tragedy on blood, and it keeps getting higher and higher with all the things that are happening. This experience changed my way of thinking entirely. I've never experienced anything so terrifying.
It's 2010 in Calgary, Alberta. Oncology nurse Joshua Smith is working at a large city hospital.
Hey, how you feeling? You okay? I'm a bedside nurse. I work in an oncology medical unit. So you would have people with various cancers that have various problems. Maybe they're having chemotherapy or radiation of some type. We're gonna take care of you. It's a sad place at times, but it's also a really good place. You as a nurse can help them, not only with their pain, but also make them feel good. Yeah. That's what I love about nursing. When I first started working there, it was just a normal unit. Everything was good. Then all of a sudden, a couple of years into it, these different events happened. Very unexplained things, and I don't know what was really going on at the time.
Dr. Schechter, please report to Oncology. Dr. Schechter to Oncology.
The first thing that happened to me, I was walking along, I had my clipboard, everything was fine, I was just making sure things were getting done. There was nobody else in the hallway, it was very quiet. Then all of a sudden, towards my left side, I just saw something float by. And I was like, what the heck is this? I didn't know what I was seeing. It was slow, sparkly thing just floating along. And then it went towards the door. It went through the door. I still can't believe it did it. Like it went through like it was nothing there. All the hair on the back of my neck stood up.
Oncology nurse Joshua Smith sees a sparkling apparition that he cannot explain.
Just retelling it, I can feel that anxiety right now.
Because it went through the door.
It went totally through the door. I still can't believe it did it. Like it went through like it was nothing there. And nothing was there.
The strange light being has completely vanished.
It just totally boggles my mind. I still can't believe it. It was very disturbing to me when I first saw it.
The sparkling that Joshua saw when he observed this figure may have been the electromagnetic equivalent of the wake that a ship leaves behind it as it passes through the water. Not the entity generating this energy itself, but it's an interaction between it and the atmosphere, the environment surrounding it.
After that, I was trying to think to myself, trying to get my wits about me, trying to figure this out because, like, who do you talk to? Who do you tell?
You okay?
Yeah, just, you know, stressed a bit from work.
I have no idea what was going on, right? And where did it come from? I really didn't know what to do at the time.
A few minutes later, Joshua's strange experiences continue.
I went to see a patient on one side of the facility. She was expected to pass away soon. We wanted to make her comfortable. I just saw it at the corner of my eye. Somebody was there that was all in black.
The dark figure moves in the direction of the patient's bedroom.
Hey!
And I actually quickly ran in there. Hey, hey! This thing was standing over top of her. Whatever was standing over her was not human. I was scared for her. I couldn't get it through my mind that something was there but wasn't.
Although Joshua saw a cloud of sparkling particles and then a shadowy figure, doesn't mean these were two different entities or two different phenomena. This could easily have been the same spirit being at different stages of its manifestation.
She was there comfortable. Medically, she's stable, but she did pass away after a couple of days. Now I know that there's something going on. There's 2 incidents now that I've actually had.
Were you scared? What?
I was scared. I didn't know if I was going insane. I truly thought I was starting to lose it. I thought maybe all these years I've been working on the unit has actually done something towards me that maybe it's time to leave the profession. That's what I was thinking at the time. The next thing that happened was very terrifying. And even now, when I'm thinking about it, I just don't know what exactly happened. I saw this woman. Even now, I can feel the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Don't stop me.
The waves of her voice was coming towards me.
Nothing left. I have no one. I'm so
And then all of a sudden, it jumped over the side. She was not there. Nothing was there.
She disappeared.
She disappeared. It was one of the most intense, scariest moments of my life. When you have an event like that in any type of trauma, you're trying to play it through your mind, but it doesn't make any sense.
Don't know what it was. I don't understand what's happening.
I actually talked to another nurse that actually works on the unit as well. As I was talking to her, telling her about what I've seen,
And then the body disappeared?
she started looking a lot more stressed out about this.
I have to tell you something.
And she said, actually, I know somebody that was security there. And she said there was an incident a week earlier.
He said that earlier this week, the exact same thing happened. There was a woman and she tried to kill herself.
What? Are you serious?
The exact same way you described it.
She was totally in shock that I knew what had actually happened. What I witnessed was something that only a few people actually saw.
I don't understand.
As I realized at that moment that I actually witnessed a paranormal event, that I actually saw a ghost or something like that repeating itself, going through the motions of what happened a week earlier.
Oh my God.
This is a classic example of a residual haunting. It's a type of natural film, if you will. It's no more real than the faces on your TV right now. It's a recording. These types of recording can actually be seen hundreds of years after the actual incident took place, depending upon how much energy went into imprinting it. The more violent the experience was, the more traumatic an incident we're dealing with, the stronger and deeper an imprint it will leave.
I still can't believe that actually happened to me. One strange event you can write off, but a second, third, it's hard to really write off. I realized that this hospital is haunted.